Greetings from London. This is Mariam Sharif and welcome to Style Moguls podcast. I am joined by one of England's finest designers. He is really one of the specialists in menswear. I've known him for a while, but we haven't connected. And I thought, what a great chance after seeing a few things on social media about him. I wanted to call him on. I'd love to invite Saron Kohli. Welcome, Saron.
Thank you. Thank you for the lovely introduction. It's just fantastic to be on board and have a chat. So yeah, I'm excited.
Absolutely. It's been a long time. So me and Saron met. Actually, I know Manny. I know his mother, who's also a fabulous designer. And we've always bumped into each other at events, at some award show or something. And so I was asked to style the two hosts for the Asian Awards at the Grosvenor. So that was DJ Laura and Mark Ramkosh. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, that goes way back.
That goes way back. That's before I left for Dubai. So, and I remembered that I had sourced DJ Laura's outfit from Mongo's, and I went there and I couldn't see something nice. We had a couple of rehearsals. We just couldn't find something. And then I remembered that I remembered Manny, and I remembered you, and we found an outfit. And when when he tried it on, he goes like, "This is perfect." And that outfit was actually it was like it was made for him. He was so happy because when the host, the person that is presenting award shows, they've got to be comfortable, haven't they? They've got to make sure that they are comfortable in what they're wearing, and it actually is part of their personality. So we found it was like this two-tone gray metallic kurta. Really beautiful, intricate, but really finely designed beadwork, because the others were too shine, too extravagant for his personality. And I remember he was smiling and he goes, "Thank you, Mariam. I really liked the outfit, you know, so thank you."
No, I'm just happy to have the opportunity. I mean, I'm a fan of cricket, so I think it was really amazing to just sort of, be involved, styling a person that you admire. Yeah.
That's a blast from the past, Sarah. And I was like, I have to mention that because
that's a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. And of course, you've been on covers of GQ and you've styled many celebrities. You've also designed your own outfits for your own wedding. So congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was the toughest thing to do because everyone assumes that, I'll it'd be easy to design for yourself, but it's the hardest thing to do. And because you obviously have that one opportunity to get it right. So yeah, no, it was good to be in the shoes of a client.
Was the pressure on when you were designing your own outfits?
So I think that where the pressure mounted was, okay, 3.5 months, 4 outfits, 4 different cuts and themes. And as I said, it's very easy. A lot of my friends say, "Oh, it'll be easy for you because you design." I said, "Yeah, but you don't get time for yourself to design in that sense of space and thought process that you do. It's not like every day I'm getting married. It's just like one off, and you tend to have a year in advance." But we had
how long you have if a client does come to you? Is that what you are actually asked?
Yeah,
give yourself a year.
Averagely, when someone comes to me, we have at least 4 to 6 months of initial meeting, and then sometimes we have less. Sometimes we have about we probably have about 5 to 7 weeks. So it just depends on where they are in their journey and how far they've gone. Because I think everyone, with this, I always feel like go with the emotion when it comes to your big day. And see what you feel, because you have to express yourself, your comfort levels. And as far as, you can go for something on trend, you can go for something as much as you like, but at the same time, it's all about you in that moment. It's not about you projecting some other image. It's the best version of you on your best day of yourself. So for me, I wanted to just stick to what I appreciate best is heirloom, something that I'm going to keep, something I want to pass it down. This is my opportunity to create something where I can actually pass it on to my children. And so I really kept that thought process in mind, and I went for a very, very classic shikankari, which was a fully hand embroidered sherwani with a with the waist belt and the shawl, but the shawl embroidery was very particular Lucknowi kaam. So the techniques used was very particular, which only if you're into embroidery or you appreciate handwork, you'll get to recognize and appreciate it. So
actually, that's
so
what
yeah, it
stood
was
out in your
something,
outfit.
man.
That's what stood out in your outfit, the shawl. I mean, I love shawls and love embroidery, and I saw it and I was like, that just makes the outfit. That is like that. That's the kind of the star of it all, you know. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the whole process. That was my theme. My theme was heirloom. That was basically what it was that I stuck with, and I just had to make up my mind because they take a lot of time. So it took exactly 3 months to embroider all my work, because of and we're a team of 7 who worked on it to catch up with the time. If it was a regular time, it takes anywhere between 6 to 8 months to make it. But
so you have it, is it in-house in England, or is it, do you send it away to?
No, my showroom was, we have an in-house embroidery, so which is managed by my sister. So we are second, third generation. So their father started with mum. So we've kind of kept the trade within the family and just moved on. So so it's all embroideries are in-house. So hence why we were able to dedicate that time. And considering this is at the same time as coming a bit of a bounce back from COVID, we're opening up again. So there was a lot of resurgence in business, which is in a good way. But it's all challenges. But I guess these are all stories that you like to tell when you're at your wedding. It happened then. This is what happened. This is what you went through. So there was
sailing. It can't be smooth sailing at a wedding. You know what I mean? There's got to be stories behind it. But I definitely think, and I think from a styling point of view, that this is probably why I didn't get into so much of the bridal, because I find that a bride should be classic and forever lasting. And then you look at the photographs and you should be able to be still in fashion, in style. And it really has to be your own personality, doesn't it? It's got to be who you are. And I find that there are so many brides that were just dressing for fashion, and I don't think it's fashion. When it comes to weddings, it's got to be timeless, hasn't it? So classic and timeless, and with obviously to go with your personality, because I was like, where is the girl? where is she? And nothing aligned and nothing in harmony. So there's so many components that go into styling, and really working carefully with your client.
No, 100%. That's the kind of process that I take as a keynote when I work with my clients, is that I love to hear all about them first before I give my input. Is because you're only enhancing someone else's personality. You're bringing the best out of them, and I think my key focus is that it's you in a different light, or it's you in a new light. And you get this opportunity once, hopefully, fingers crossed. So I think it's one of those things where
fingers crossed, otherwise it's expensive.
But I think it's one of those cases where I tend to, when we sit down, we have this conversation, and I just I like to learn as much as possible about them, just about their lives, likes, dislikes, everything. But when it comes to designing, it's a teamwork, and I encourage them to try something new. I encourage them to try colors. It's just a little bit encouraging, because I've seen a big change, especially with men, because we know brides, they have a lot of options, but I think men are not left behind. If anything, they have so many options that we are able to actually have fun now. So I've come across a lot of, I'll call them men divas, where they just they take the opportunity firsthand. They take the opportunity firsthand.
It's their big day as well. I mean, why should it be just it was Bridezilla's, but I think why shouldn't it be, the man's day, where equally, you're in a partnership. So equally you should, they want to look good as well. And I think the trend, like 100%. You said, much more concerned, much more aware of what they're wearing, much more aware of their own style, aren't they?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think it's just that two people should complement each other, and not accessorize each other, but complement each other. And I think it just says a lot about your relationship as well. It just means you're very coherent about each other. And so it's very finer details, but it's part and process of how when I sit down and have that comfort level with them, because at the end of the day, I just want them to remember they took time out for themselves through this whole thing, because there's so much to do for when you get married. But this is just a part of your process that you should just have as me time and enjoy this process. Yes, take everyone's opinions and values and have that contribution. But at the end, the decision is yours, and when that comes to it, let's make it as easy as comfortable.
Yeah, because you've got to be, I mean, I think kind of be comfortable on your big day, and you know, that's absolutely, I think that's the essence of everything. You know, if you're not comfortable, you look awkward. You don't feel like, you don't enjoy your big day, and that's the whole point, isn't it? So yeah, I think comfort levels.
Yes, that's the way.
So Saran, on your IG profile, I recently discovered that you're a choreographer, and I thought you were a designer. So what came first? Because I didn't know that you were actually into choreography. And when I was going through your profile, because it's been a long time, I was like, did he just start this? Or so which came first, the designing or the choreography?
Dance came first, 100%. Dance came before being a choreographer or design. That was my first love. I think I discovered I had rhythm since I could walk, and yeah, I was the dancer in the house. I was the one who used to be invited to every birthday parties just because I could entertain them. So, and I used to get away with free cake. But yeah, that's how it was. Yeah, that was my prior life till it started to become professional as I got into my teenage years.
Right. So you decided to take this path seriously, because I didn't know you danced. You know, except by seeing some clips from your wedding, and I was like, this is the moves.
Yeah, no, it started to happen. Gosh, I was like 13 or 14, I think, 14 or so. Yeah. When I first had my audition, my mom encouraged me. You know, she said, look, this is what's happening, and I was self-taught. I didn't have any training. Wow. Just did an audition, and it was for modeling. Actually, it wasn't even for dance, but I just went up and I said, well, I signed up for dancing. I thought this is what it was, and they had a bit of miscommunication, but they said, okay, let's see you dance, and that's how it was. And that was my first initial, I don't know, call it break or whatever it was, my first job. Then I joined a few dance groups and was part of the performing circle. And then as I go along, I started my own dance company when I was 17.
Oh, wonderful.
So dance actually led to choreographing, but that actually became the catalyst for me to pick up designing. Right. It was a natural, that was my natural curve. It went from there to actually deciding it to do as academically at university.
Right.
At the same time, I launched it as a dance crew, which I ran for pretty much all throughout university.
Oh, wonderful! Wow.
And then later on, went to New York to get trained.
For choreography.
Well, it was for pretty much everything. I went to study dance. My bucket list was before I hit 30 or before, I don't know, 25. I went to go to a dance school for at least amount of time. So I took a sabbatical in 2013, and I went to New York for about 8
months. I love New York. I love New York.
So so that was my second time I lived in New York. So I went to I got into a Broadway school, and that's when my sort of formal training from ballet to choreography to sort of stage writing and sort of kind of came into play. And then came back, got signed up, and I performed professionally. I ended up dancing a lot more than I thought I would imagine, especially for the dance, what we call as a life cycle. It was, you're doing everything in your prime is very young, 17 to 25. I did a lot more 25 plus. So, but it was good. It was good. I still enjoy it. This first love.
So how was the experience in New York compared to the UK? Very much different. And what did you learn? What is the most important thing that you learned from being in New York?
I love New York. I think it's my favorite city because I think the difference, well, everyone has their share for experiences, but I think New York is very forward-coming in terms of, it's a very outgoing city. It's very easy to talk to people there. And even on a subway just when you're grabbing a coffee, you can have...
Did they like your accent? Because when I got there, I got stopped all the time.
Maybe that's why.
They like the British accent.
Maybe that's why. And a lot of times they could not understand about ketchup and chips. They still don't get the concept of having ketchup with chips. They're still, bamboozled over that. But no, maybe that's what made it easier. Or the icebreaker was my accent. But I just enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think I was in a school where I met so many incredible people who've done so much in their career, from Broadway, film, and TV. And it's just being in that same space. And you just mentioned someone that I've actually already interviewed on the podcast. So we actually have a common friend also that you've met in New York, Preeti. Yeah, Preeti. Yeah. When when you reached out and I saw your podcasts and stuff, and I said, "Oh, is this the same one?" Because it said Dubai, Virgin Dubai, and it says only one Preeti Malik, and it's
absolutely
Dubai.
Only one Preeti.
So when I heard it, I was reminiscing a time when we first met.
Because she's a great dancer as well, you know.
She is, yeah. That's how we met. We met through dance. So we actually met through dance, and it was I can't remember, it was a university related performance or what it was. It was something, and I think we danced together, and it was in a crew. So that's how we got to know, and we kept in touch. And I learned that I never thought she was into radio. She never mentioned radio then, but it was so nice to see, because she is exactly the person off radio and on radio. The energy is very same. So I think, of course, it makes sense. So So she's one of the people.
And I do find that people say that, you know, I think nowadays people say find one thing and commit to it, and that's what you should do. And I think being a creative, I think firstly everybody is creative, but when you are a creative, your minds do kind of wander, and you think you can do this and you can do that. But I think that you don't have to be, and that's the best thing about creativity. You are not pigeonholed, and you're not restricted to just doing this. So you're not put into a box like a professional, you know, the professional traditional careers, banking or you know, accountancy or lawyer. You know, it's not the same. So I think it's very much, you have that freedom of movement, right?
100%.
And which overlaps. Which overlaps.
Yeah. So I classify myself as a multidisciplinary, because I don't just look at I just don't design one way or one thing and that's it. It's just fashion. But no, it's 90% of all creatives, be it artists or be it creatives in the business, all have the knack to try something else or think out of the box and have another discipline, because it keeps your mental energy refreshed. So dancing is just for me, sometimes this is a source of good energy. And because having done that, I'm able to understand, and because of that, I was able to appreciate fashion more. It's purely because I worked with so many musicians and artists that I was able to do choreography for, and I was doing styling
and music
and
music and fashion is very much connected. It's like a marriage, isn't it? I think I find that music
music is fashion's, or fashion is music's second skin, because it's literally what it is. If you were to imagine listen to music and you would just imagine what it would look like, fashion plays an important role in delivering that as deep as possible. So I think it goes hand in hand. I mean, that whole I would say ecosystem of music, dance, and fashion is very interconnected, and it has so many disciplines that are so well connected, and you learn so many different approaches, and you can apply that to your daily life. It's nothing really just but I encourage that. I think everyone should always try something, because I think it's all about releasing a good energy, and you just do not know where your practice is. Like,
exactly, because until you try, how do you know that you can do it? And I always say do something, because once you're in that mode of creativity, you're constantly exploring, and then that's growth and evolving as a creative. 100%. So if you don't take that chance and you just do the one thing, then you'll never know your potential of doing other things. Hence we come to your movie that you have designed for, and also danced in. So let's talk about the Eternals. Fantastic project that you're involved in, and congratulations, Marvel movies. Like it's amazing. It's like one of the, probably, is it one of your highlights? Is it one of your major achievements? Because
100%. I think I'll be honest with you, never had a goal or a sense of, you know, I thought I would do it purely because I'm just a Marvel fan. I'm a fanboy. I just appreciate growing up, just, you know, this is a part of me, who I am. And it's about my identity, just like being a fanboy in terms of like superheroes, and, you know, to be able to watch them in like live action cinema. And you never, I never sat and thought, oh, one day I'll like, no, I was like, you know what? I just love for the fact of what it is. But when I got the call and I had the opportunity to work on it, I just felt so inclusive, and I felt like validated in life in a way, like in a sense, like, oh my life is made up of part of the universe. So it kind of was hard to contain my excitement. It was really hard to contain my excitement, because I was like, I need to get over the fact that I'm a fan now. I'm like, I'm playing, I'm contributing. But absolutely. The costume was the primary. The dancing was just sort of fell in accidentally.
So not only should we tell the audience that you not only designed 50 outfits for the designers for one of the scenes, and also you danced in one of the scenes also.
100%. Which wasn't really, but wasn't really planned, I'll be honest with you. It wasn't really part of the sketch or anything. It was a very last minute decision, but Nilika, who's a choreographer, and needed an extra person. And then she when she found out that I was involved in the costume, which was very late actually, she just reached out and said, look, I just got to learn that it's you who's involved. And then she just said, you know, would you be like a part of it and do it? And I was like, well, I'm there anyway. But I just want to make sure with the costume department would be okay with it. So they were amazed. They're like, oh my God, we've had creators, but you know, to be able to do this and that and balance it takes a lot. So I was like, 100%, why not? But I had no idea I would make the cut. I'll be in screen. I just thought I'm just there helping. That's all it was. When that scene came in, I was like, oh my God, I'm actually in it for quite some bit now. So this is pretty good. So I don't know, like that's my Marvel acting debut. I don't know what that means.
Oh, fantastic. You see your talent, creativity is going in all directions. That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Well, that's what multidisciplinary does, right? That's what
exactly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's wonderful. Let's walk through the creative process, because I want to understand how you design, and for any young and up and coming designers that want to kind of get into design. Let's kind of look at your creative process, and let's take a look at what you designed for the Marvel movie. Like, let's go through what the concept was. If you can talk us through to the end product.
Yeah, it was so when I first learned about it, they reached out to me and we met up. There was no mention of Marvel or anything. It was very much of a getting game, because I was really surprised at the fact that they actually heard of me. But my name came up about 2-3 times, and I said, okay, so well, they must have been reaching out to just see, okay. But when they spoke to me, they felt comfortable on the phone, and they said, oh, come. It's only when they said it says Pinewood Studios is when I took it very seriously, in the sense that it has to be a very high budget film and it must be something very serious. Yeah. So just being in the office and stuff, and still second guessing, because I saw so many costumes. I'm still guessing because I thought it could be anything.
So you weren't given the brief to anything really? No.
Nothing at all. No. It's only when we met up, and then going through the sort of the whole process and everything, and then they said, okay, we can comfortably talk now. And then that's when they gave me some references, and the reference was very sort of straightforward. It was I still remember, it was just a printout of a sky, and it was like a hue going from pink to blue. That's all it was. And I said, that's what we want to achieve in costume. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, wow, we're gonna have to find the right balance, because it was obviously a Bollywood scene. Also, it was to make sure the colors work well with the set and the studio, because it was seen in a scene where Kamal's playing an actual Bollywood actor being filmed in the scene as well. We had to make sure that everything has a set, colors, everything worked well with what the brief was. Yeah. But honestly, Marvel's costume department is just like absolutely amazing, and they were so all ears to what I was saying. And I remember I actually took, I usually never take my mom anyway, so I took my mom and said, Mom, come with me. Like, it's like, come with me. When she was there, she was just like, gave 2 cents and stuff, which actually really helped, because I think what was really interesting was how to balance colors when your color scheme is very restricted. Your color scheme is so the process that we sort of worked when I was working backwards was to stick with 4 or 5 palettes of colors, and then find swatches and fabrics in each one of that. So we create swatches, fabrics that would work create mood boards, working with what they had in mind in terms of the set, and then we work backwards in terms of what sort of, because the lead time was also very short. I only had 5 weeks to basically deliver this. So in 5 weeks, what was possible? Also, their brief was that they wanted to find a good balance of not being so heavy, but floating, and they were very clear. They'd done their research. Obviously, they've watched a lot of Bollywood films. They've done a lot of research, and by that time, they had picked up some key terms in the language, in our sort of ethnic language as well. So they knew what they wanted in terms of cottons and chinderis and block prints. So we basically immediately, my thing was, okay, so the first thing I have to do is I have to create a mood board. With that mood board, I have to provide some evidences, in a sense that, okay, examples, references, swatches. So quickly create them, and some just draft sketches of, this is the sort of the guideline. And if they feel, they respond and be like, okay, this is heading to the right direction, then you start pulling in and start, developing that further. So it was more like the first 5 days was the hardest, because the first 5 days meant whatever we achieve now is going to be the benchmark for the actual collection, the actual 50 pieces. This is the color scheme, this is the print. So we had to source. There was a very family team effort from of them, which I feel I'm very grateful for, is in a sense is that my sister handles production, taking keynotes and inspiration from mum, and then also just sort of like going very deep. I remember just calling and speaking to people and going online and, you know, taking books out and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is the print,
real research.
the motive. Just really go deep into it. And then I was like, let's quickly develop as much as we can in 5 days. Let's do that, and let's create every single color in the palette and let's put it together. So literally, we just sandwiched all the ideas and presented from one printout to a whole board, which has got everything in broken detail, and present that to them. They were just really happy. They were just like, you've literally done all the homework beyond that, what we thought. In fact, we thought we were going to have further Q&A, but I think you've actually answered every question. We know exactly what's happening. And the next thing was technical in terms of it's dancers, it's not generic people wearing it. You have to give them gussets. You've got to provide them sort of enough margins, movement, and the fabric has to be lightweight. It has to be breathable. So I had to tick all these boxes for many reasons, for technical reasons, but also presentation as well. So it was very demanding in that case, is that going through the process was to constantly keep that in mind as what the director or the choreographer or the cameraman, what their requirements are. So it was really important to just take those keynotes, and those were my highlights. So those were my highlights. Just place these keywords in front of you and work within that. So in a way, my creative process was a bit more organized, because creative process shouldn't be so organized, because it should be let go. But that's what happens is that you really dig deep, explore your area, then you formulate and have some structure with your creative process, and that helps you, build implement a collection or implement X amount of pieces and so forth. So that's what really
I think the research and then condensing each down for each department in each and kind of harmonizing and make sure that everything is in alignment with everything. So no, that's absolutely fantastic. And then people have to watch the movie to see the final result and see the actual color scheme that you chose, because it was beautiful. I checked it out yesterday. It was amazing, and it was so fitting. It was just so along with the scene and the characters and you could just it was very well done. Fantastic. Really liked it.
Thank you. It was I'm so happy that the way it came out. I was so excited, and I didn't know because it was shot 2 years ago, and then COVID came and things delayed, and we were all very much, because it wasn't just about achieving that. I think it was so many South Asian talents involved in one frame. And I think it was more that than anything that it's a very rare moment that you get this to represent your culture on such a big level and a platform, and you just give them a snippet of what it is. It's not the Bollywood we know today. It's very changed. Maybe it's very sort of, but at the end of the day, I think what it is that it's just giving an idea of to a wider world audience of what they consume as Bollywood. I think for Marvel to incorporate that was great.
And you know what I actually liked? That if you take, like, for example, Aladdin, which was a very different theme, but a lot of people kind of criticize the costumes in there, and I know, because it was very much like that could have been more intricate. It was much more of a Halloween costume, and then actually properly designed. And I found the contrast in this one, I thought it was really elegant. It's something that somebody would wear, and it would be something that it was more real, rather than kind of that fantasy outfit, more of a costume. But so it was in that respect, I thought the contrast of both, because you see Bollywood movies and it's such a misrepresentative of what people actually do wear,
that was really important.
What a great cast as well. I was looking at the Angelina Jolie, you've got Harry Styles. I mean, there's a really big cast in this, isn't there?
Very big cast. It's a very big cast. It's a very different movie. It's very different from what the current timeline of Avengers, and it's
Salma Hayek was the main. Salma Hayek. I was like, it looked very different, but like as you said, it was obviously going through all this COVID challenges that everybody's gonna have gone through, but hopefully we see some light at the end of the tunnel, because wonderful, really applaud you for that. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
And I request everybody to watch if they haven't, and and then do comment and let Saron know. And
it's a family movie, 100%. Take your family. It's a family movie. enjoy it. It's something really new and fresh, and it sets the tone for the next phase. That if you're a Marvel fan, so you have to watch it.
Do you think there'll be a part 2?
It will be a follow-up. From what I've learned, there is a follow-up.
I think so.
Like Marvel, there's always a follow-up about every the story keeps continuing. So it is.
Wonderful. You also, talking about COVID challenges, you started a really great initiative for vitiligo. And I really didn't realize until I had read your profile again, because obviously it's, we know you as a creative, but then obviously there's so many aspects of a person that you don't realize. And I actually didn't know that it's something that you had actually gone through yourself. So tell us about this initiative that you started, which is wonderful. I'd love you to tell us more about that.
Yeah, it was during lockdown, where pretty much everything was sort of on halt.
Let's tell the audience what vitiligo is, because some people might not know it. So
vitiligo is a skin. It's a skin condition. It's not a disease. It's a skin condition, which basically is sort of reduction or disappearance of melanin in your skin. Which obviously changes the color, which is discoloration of your skin. So it creates white patches or pink patches on your skin, and it has sort of a very rough displacement of that. So I have it roughly around just about here and here, and some spots are there. So I got it when I was 16, and I got it the week of my sister's marriage. So, which is really weird because
do you think stress brings it on? Was it stressful or excitement? What brings this on? Is it genetic? How does one get this?
It's a mixture of everything. It's a mixture of everything. So for some, it's genetic. So someone in your family had it. For me, not, from what we discovered, it wasn't the case. We didn't have anyone in the family. It can be stress related. Stress can trigger something in your
body system,
in your immune system, or it's just or it can also be because this is what has increased vitiligo, because 2% of the world has vitiligo, and that's primary reason is that we now have more genetic modified foods, and we have more fast foods, and that is not just to do with eating out. It's just the way the food we consume comes to us, and the way it's been processed, or where it is not as natural what it used to be. And obviously, when we evolve what we eat, it's starting to show the defects in that. So some reason is that. Some reason is some people are just cannot consume dairy with seafood. There's many factors. Some just happens naturally. Some can happen, but it's predominantly that I've learned is because it's something related to your gut, and which is your immune system. So that's where, if your immune system is triggered first, this is how it reflects. Stress can only amplify that a lot more. And so what I have is called controlled vitiligo. It means it wouldn't go all over. It will stay within its boundaries, but within the boundary itself, it comes and goes. So in my hand, there will be some spots or a patch, and then it will go.
Oh, right. So it can disappear also and vanish and then come back again.
I think where we've come this far in our research, we've come this far in medicine, is that it is to some extent possible to get the melanin back in your skin. What I don't think is that we've reached that far, is that there's no a purpose for the pill or anything like any of that. It's just straight change of diet and lifestyle, and to re-energize your immune system with help of some natural remedies, which can be done, because I've seen results of that. And that was literally the inspiration behind it, that I wanted to bring that forward as a talking point in the public eye and just discuss that.
And I think you're right, because especially in the Asian, South Asian Arab communities, we find that, anything, something like this. I used to hear a rumor that don't eat fish and milk together because you'll get it. And that was a myth, and people were very scared of it. And I think the awareness that people have now created allows people to discuss it and be open, and to say that there's nothing to fear, and you could get it at any stage of your life. So don't think that you couldn't get it, I think bringing that awareness to the community and to really talk about it's vital. And so you designed some masks.
I designed some masks during the pandemic when we were all in lockdown, and as a lot of designers were at that point, were just on that, but for me, I think I just wanted to use that as a tool, as a voice, and really have a platform to discuss and just highlight something. And that's what then I worked backwards, and with a friend of mine who I constantly do collaborations with Mira. We sat down, we developed the print, we worked on the layout, and then we brought it out to a product, and it kind of went viral, where it was being talked about everywhere, and it really, actually, a lot of the older generation really appreciated it. The fact that I'm so happy to see that I remember getting messages from, aunties and uncles, and like, listen, thank you so much, because in my generation growing up, this was not possible. Especially
absolutely. And even people, like, especially for girls, I mean, I'm more for girls who've had it, and like, how people didn't want to get married to them because we didn't want to sit next to them or socialize with them. What were the effects when you were growing up? How did people perceive you differently, and how did that affect your mental health?
Yeah, it did affect my mental health. And I think the thing was, because of my age, I was sort of 15, 16, and I was in school, and I was finishing school. And I think that time is so, in your best years of your life, and you're just sort of, coming of age, and you have the confidence issues, because you feel like you're constantly being stared at, or you're being looked at. And, it's not about question. I think I would feel like people would just have a bit of a defense mechanism of not sort of being too close to me, or something would be said very softly or directly, indirectly. So I kind of had a bit of everything. And I think that really sort of affected my confidence. And I got really worried in terms of like, oh my God, my only way is I'm gonna completely go extreme with this, and I can't control it, and I don't understand it. But with help of my family and friends, I was able to learn a bit more, speak to people. And I think the only way this gets easier is that you speak to people from the same community. So and it just helps boost confidence. And I think that's a very key thing, is to keep the conversation going. And that was the key word in my campaign, is I keep this going, because every little helps when it comes to this. I still remember I was once in Waitrose buying groceries, and on the till, when I turned up on the till, this very sort of young Asian girl, she had some of her hands, but when she saw me, I could tell she was looking at me. But what I felt was that she wants to say something, she wants to talk, and just be like, ask me something. So I instantly said, I instantly said to her, your hands are so beautiful. Like, I love your hands. She goes, I've had no one say that. And I said, why not? I said, is it vitiligo? She goes, yes. And I said, I'm dying to ask you, like, how do you feel? And just in those spare moment of just buying groceries, I just had a quick chat. I said, look, read up here, do this. If you need to touch, here's my number. I can put you in touch with any doctors, or just you want to learn more. And I straight away said to her, before anything, don't think of getting rid of it. Think of embracing it first. Let it become who you are.
Yeah, then part of your personality. Own it, right?
Own it first, and then decide what to do with it. And she was like, this is amazing. And then she sent me a text and saying that, thank you so much. You really helped me boost my confidence. And I think things like this is what really creates a positive dominoes effect. So that's what it was. It was just an initiative to just basically get talking. And I thought, why not? And I think right now we're talking about this, and why shouldn't we talk about other things? Because it's in relation to
I think that people have started to address things that do concern them, and this is the beauty of, I think, if you look at COVID, the kind of side effects of it in a positive manner, then we're allowed to kind of air and express how we feel about so many things. And basically the mask is really well designed. I love the design of it. It's beautiful. And definitely to have that kind of community, or that safe space where people can express their feelings about it, and then their insecurities. And thankfully, with makeup and styling, you're able to camouflage it very well. I mean, I started beauty from not beautifying, but actually from camouflaging marks and scars. So for me, I completely understand. It's how it affects a woman, and what her husband or the family or anybody would think about it. I mean, I had my very good, beautiful auntie, she's a beautiful soul, who passed away, but she always had it, and it just became larger and it just kind of, I think she's completely changed her color. But we didn't see that. Saran, we didn't see that, because we just saw the beautiful heart that she had. You go past it. And I think that's what it is. You want people to go past your color, your discoloration, and to see your heart. And I think once you've done that, then that confidence will come back. But what a great initiative. Is there somewhere where people can contact you, that if they feel that they want to express or speak more about it, and maybe get some more information, if somebody's seen a patch or seen something and they want some advice, who do they contact?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, more than welcome to speak directly to me. You can Instagram me at Saron Kohli. You can email me at info@saronkohli.com, or even there's the Vitiligo Society, which is the UK-based charity, which their prime focus is an educational platform to create awareness, have conversations and resources, tips, everything. Talk a lot about that. So and you get to meet people from the community who are advocating this. So I feel like a very small pea in the pond. There's so many more like me who are advocating, and all credit to them, because we've kind of just made sure we stretch our hands and our voices as far as possible, just so we could make someone else's approach to this a bit easier. And of course, some parents have children who have it, and they can't speak for children, can't speak for themselves, and they need the extra help. So we're just being able to do that. So I'm all ears, and of course, why not? You just have to make it easier for anyone.
So I think for me, even as makeup artists, if anybody wants help in camouflaging and understanding their skin, more than happy to help. So do let me know and how I can join in this great cause that you started. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you need any help,
if you go on my website, saronkohli.com, I've got a tab which is Vitiligo masks. If you go on it, there's a lot more you can read on it about the charity, about the masks, and you can touch base with them and just base just any Q&A. More than happy to help.
Because as women, I can completely understand the confidence that it would shatter them. So absolutely here to help. So wonderful initiative. So what do we have in store for 2022? Because like next year it's the 1st of December today, and last month. What is it, any next 5 years? What are you planning? What are you planning for next year? I mean, obviously COVID pending, but what is it that you have in store? Where are you going in the next 5 years?
Oh, I don't know. I'm taking each year as it comes now, isn't it? Because what's going to happen. But I think the next move forward, I am going to be into a new studio space for sure. So I'm going to be into a new space.
Right. And where are you based at the moment, if everybody wants to know?
I'm based in South Woodford, which is just at the border of Greater London and Essex. So I'm there, and I'm looking to move into a new space. And also, since I've been very much active online, you'll see a lot of collections being available online as well. Those are two things that are happening. I did have a project before COVID, which was to launch a studio in Delhi, which is still back on track now, because things are going a bit easier. So
did you have something in Delhi? Because I remember Mani telling me once that you did have a workshop and you did have some
only production, but not retail or form of sort of a store or studio. But now I will be sort of pushing that. So I'm just in the midst of possibly having a pop-up. So I will be having a pop-up in Delhi soon, and moving moving into a new space. So there's a lot of newness coming into my brand.
Fresh starts and new chapters starting and new beginnings, and I think people wanting to experiment and get out there. And I think we need this boost of new energy and new design, new creativity, and just fresh starts, don't we?
100%, and I think that's what I'm that's what I'm looking forward to. I'll be looking forward to at least having a little break, if anything, because I have not traveled since this has happened.
Oh my God, me included. It'd be really nice
to dip my toes into sand and water, so I'm dying for that, and some coconut water. But no, so these are sort of things that I'm working towards. Is a new place, a pop-up, and also developing a collection. Even the collection has changed quite a bit, because I'm not focused. I've always not focused predominantly wedding. I've really much focused on different palettes in my collection for menswear. So it could be a suit, it could be a casual, it could be all the way to the wedding. So try to differentiate, because I think it's just more about us and how our culture is weaved into it. We're not just all about weddings. So I think I'm going to expand that a lot more. And my focus will be a little bit of wedding, but I think it's just a chance that I want to balance it out. And I think we should encourage designers to
kind of create that kind of hybrid, isn't it? Like, with West and East, and not kind of bluntly being all about culture and heritage, but having those kind of small elements with the fine details that you do, which you do so amazingly. And I love that detail about you. Actually, that's probably the best thing, that you use those elements so wonderfully, that in your creations and your designs, that you still have the part of heritage and culture, which I love, but so it's still ethnic and desi, but very hybrid, very modern. It's very much, you know, now.
That's exactly. I just amplify that a bit more and just work on that. So that's the key focus coming forward. So fingers crossed, it'll just get better and we'll just be able to enjoy and just have a more as normal as possible. It's a new version, but what it may be the best of it is.
Yeah. So before you showed us a few pieces and a few outfits, I want to ask you, how would you like to leave our audience, and what would you like to say to them? Any words of wisdom? What advice would you say to new and upcoming designers? Any advice that you'd like to share with the audience before you show us the wonderful collection behind you?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing is for sure is that if you're deciding to get into fashion and stuff, is that put the glamour aside, because there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes and it's all about the process. This industry is all about the process. The perfection is just given if you've got the process. So, you know, and keep pursuing the ideal. Don't give up to it when you've just begun. Don't question yourself. Just become part of it. Embrace every challenge. Embrace every fall, every rise. And yeah, I mean, and surround yourself with people who want to see you succeed, who want to see you be something. And even if they just say there's the smallest, even a one word, it just because they just want to see you become the person you are. So yeah, your encouragements, I would say, starts with you. And if you've chosen to be in this path or any path that be, is that it's all about the journey. There's no deadline. There's always so much to learn. I'm still learning even today. And I'm sort of, sometimes I feel like I'm retraining myself purely because I think that's what this industry has to offer, is that there's a lot to learn. And
we have to keep ourselves up to date and try new things as well, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of being a designer. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You just got to be like on point. And fashion in a way, or style, and I mean, style is, I will say, is proceed, you know, it's beats its precedence in terms of like it stays here timelessly and forever. But fashion is also going through a very rocky time, in a sense, I would say, is that it was so fast. It was so fast, and it would just be blinking of an eye and the trend is gone, or blinking of an eye, you don't appreciate what you wear as much. And I think we're going into
sustainability and really like consciously looking at fashion, aren't we? Which is such a great thing, because to address it on a conscious level, because it's one of the biggest polluters, isn't it? Fashion, fast fashion, you know.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
in the world. So we have to really take responsibility of that.
Yeah, there's parts of the supply chain which we really need to look at and address and really try and get control over. So it's really important. Sustainability, how it's sustainable, is very important to discuss, as well as, you know, how are you placed in the market in terms of like, you want to keep releasing collections. It's all about going at your own pace. So I think it's really important for an advice to any up-and-coming designers, that design how you see the whole process, not because it's someone else's process. It's how you call. And I think it's really important, and it's really good that the power is back into not just the business or the creator, but also the power is going back to the people to say that I have a choice to make, I have a decision to make. And even for the business or the creators also, I have a choice and a conscious decision to make that, make sure the product is made well. And even the customer wants to know if it is, and if it's quality and it's going to last long. And it's not disposable, and it's not about beating the price. Because if that was the case, then you know, we could all live off fast food if we wanted to, but we don't.
No, I think that healthy conversation is really good, because you know, from the consumer to the creator, I think there's much more of a connection now. You know, they're much more inquisitive, much more asking of what and where, and you know, and that's nice, because people are really interested in what they wear and how they wear it.
100%. And I think it's just encourage that more. So so these are, I think, a lot of key notes that I want to start incorporating more and more, and it's always been part of the brand, but it's nice to sort of get back into it. And I think that we just have a better time to do this as well.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. Let's take a look at your collection at the back now. Walk us through some of your outfits and some of the things.
I hope I'm able to fit everything in. I hope I'm able to in here, but
you could just just hold it up after.
We talked about hybrid, so I'll show you a little bit of hybrid. So
you know what? It's I'll actually post, and I'll put the outfit that you did for Mark Ramkosh, because that was wonderful as well. But I will.
So this is using French jacquard. and using French jacquard. And what I've done is I've done the jacket.
There's a lot of light there, Saron. Bring it up a little bit. Bring it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Wonderful.
So what I've done is given it. So it's a sleeveless jacket, but I've given it lapels and I've given it a 3-button front to give a sort of nice, sort of English sartorial cut to it. But at the same time, I've given a long kurta, but the kurta is made out of jersey, so it's a t-shirt fabric. So they're given like a very soft, muscle fit, very comfortable look and feel. And as well as using a French fabric rather than Indian fabric on this. So it's just like a nice hybrid. And it's got drape and so it's what
lovely.
It's what I am about. It's about just merging different things together to
love it.
And same here. It's like giving a blazer, but traditionally but it's a dip dye. So this is a dip dye going from light. This was very much sort of Marvel inspired, but this was done ages ago. It was going from different pink to a different color. So going from dusky pink to a regular pink, and then got some really nice embroidered details. So just keeping it very
lovely.
So
Beautiful.
But it's giving it a nice tailored look and something a bit classic. I'll show you. Or what could I show you? Show you something a bit classic.
Show something classic, something flamboyant, something traditional, something colorful.
This was actually my wedding reception. So
okay. What color is that, Saron?
That's
like an aubergine. What is it?
It's like a very warm lavender. It's like
okay, because the lighting,
it's a very, very sort of I would say a mixture of
gorgeous.
Lavender, like a it's not even a purple, but I'd say it's more like a mitti color. Color. It's a lavender and a mitti color, with the
I love the lining. I'm a sucker for good lining. On the inside. I don't want to just look good on the outside. I want to look good. I want to feel good on the inside.
And
that's gorgeous.
Classic trousers with and these are mother of pearl buttons to go with it. So it's
nice.
real mother of pearl buttons.
Beautiful detailing.
And contrast buttons. So very classic. I'm going to give it a very nice classic tuxedo with a pure satin hand tied bow and very classic. So something very much. I'll show you something which is embroidered now, which is very heavily embroidered.
Is this something for your kind of grooms?
Groom, This is more groom, but this is a tailcoat. It's a penguin jacket. So
wow, that's gorgeous, Saron. Like when I get married, you're designing my husband's outfit, okay?
Oh, not at all. But just to tease you, I have a female version of the same. So this is the female version.
Oh wow! Matching. Okay.
The very colonial cut.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very Mughali, very Mughalai. Yeah.
Very Mughalai, and this is it's got a very sort of tail at the back.
I don't know why, but I prefer the man's outfit more.
They all have actually.
I like the sleeves on this, and the detail on the sleeve is so beautiful because it's much more heavier. So
it's much heavier. It's pure handwork. It's pure zari and resham and a little bit of crystal. But it's very
on velvet, right? It's on velvet.
It's on silk velvet,
Oh, silk velvet,
for this, so it's got a softer finish. It's got a softer finish.
Because I find that some velvets can be so stiff, and then we wear them obviously for winters. When there's so many weddings, and it's too stiff and harsh, and then you've got really harsh work on there, all the embroidery work, and it just doesn't sit right. It just looks quite off. But thank you so much. You know what I have noticed a lot, that we are owning our own, and we're identifying but owning our culture and our heritage now. We're feeling that we're this new wave of being proud of who we are, whereas first generation kind of were here and made their mark. Second tried to incorporate and try to become what the West was. And I think now it's all about taking a power back and owning your culture and heritage, which I love. I love this new wave of acceptance and awareness, that it's coming about. And you can see it. You can see it in the young, South Asian Arab communities, and all ethnic minority communities that have heritage and culture are really owning it and really embracing it. They're using those colors and fabrics and in all their everyday, looks, which is, I love it. I absolutely love that. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it's about time that we do that, because visual identity can only be even stronger or impactful as if you be yourself, but also bring in a lot of history and culture and depth to it. So
I want, yes, this is what I was going to mention. So Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, started this trend of actually not wearing suits and Western clothes when he was going abroad for his travels and his official visits, and he wore the traditional shalwar kameez with the waistcoat. And you've seen the trend of even his I think it's Peshawari chappal, that even that, from the waistcoats and shalwar kameez, I think that there's a new wave of people wanting to experiment now, and they're really they're really embracing their own culture, which is fantastic. Really fantastic, so
absolutely. And I think it's embraced your national identity, so why not? So
absolutely. And is Mummy around? I'm going to finish on that. Is Mum around?
Oh, she is around. Pop in.
No, to pop in. We were meant to do a separate one with her, but why not have 5 minutes?
This is like an interlude. This is exactly what happens in Marvel. You at the end credit.
Hello, my darling. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. So we did our Saron's interview first, but I bumped into you the other day, and I thought, I was going through all of my list of people that I love and admire. So really lovely to see you. I love the creative family. I love it. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a wild family and very egocentric sometimes.
So is everybody right?
Right? That comes with the creative aspect of things, you do learn. But we've learned to merge. We've learned to marry with ideas pretty
wonderful. Well, you know what? I think you have, Saran's got great creativity, and I think, he's obviously it's rubbed off definitely from your side. What's the best thing that you love about your son?
He's got a lot of flair in the sense he's modern. He's very young generation. For me, he's in my third generation, as I would say. But the beauty is the way he brings in, even if it's just a note, a touch of the old school, to emphasize the roots, the culture. It just kind of shapes the whole item so perfectly that you can tell it's very enhanced.
It's subtle, but very intricate, I find.
Anyone who has a sharp eye will notice.
Absolutely. And I think this is what I loved about his designs, especially when we were styling for Mark Rapakosh. He was fantastic because it was subtle, but it was intricate, and the impact was fantastic. And the work and the two-tone, I mean, I'm going to have to put that into the interview, and I'll place it. But it was a long time ago. But it was one of that was a long time ago. But you could see that you were so distinguished from other designers. Like I was like completely different, and I was like, I like this person. So we will have to kind of catch up and have another creative conversation. But thank you, both of you. Thank you, Sarah, for a lovely conversation, getting to know the designer, but the person behind the designs, and all your amazing work. I wish you all the success in the future. I wish you wonderful more creations, and I look forward to seeing you again. Much more success. Thank you both. Take care, Manny.
No, thank you. Thank you so much.
Take care.